Okay, so the manuscript is at the editor's. So what can we do as we wait? We can create a book cover, create social media postings, and create the back cover blurb for the paperback and the hardcover. But first, let's talk about book cover branding and marrying a series. That's what this video will cover. In the end, I will give you a big tip on working with fiverr.com to get a book cover done. You will thank me for it. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to take a look at getting ready to do a book cover. So whether you are writing in a series or you just need to think about branding, what I'm about to go over is very relevant no matter how you're going to write. So what I've done is I've pulled up several different series that are listed on Amazon.com. And we're going to go over what makes each of these series look similar, things like that. So the first one I've pulled up is Olivia Knight FBI mystery thriller. There's 12 books in this series. It's by L. Gray, the author. And as you can see, the first three books are very, very similar. Okay. And what is similar about them is it has this sort of turquoise blue overcast or color wash on the picture. The author's name is in yellow, and the title is in, big, white, simple font. Okay. And the genre that I pulled up is mystery romance, which is one of the genres I write in. And the second, also part of this author's style, is that there's sort of a house or a building in each scene, and there is a yellow light that is inside the houses. So the first three book covers really are very tight. They all follow the same house, yellow light, and the title. But as the series goes on, you can see here that it lightens up a little bit. There's a little bit more freedom in the design. Now, by the third or fourth book, this author, with these kinds of reviews, she already has a readership. Okay, so this is certainly enough to tie these all together as a series. So that's a great example of a series design. Now, this one here, Paradise Valley Mystery Series, it's 8 books. It's by Deborah Burrows. Okay, this one is a little bit looser. Okay, the author name is always the same. The title is in white, pretty much the same font. And there is a woman in each cover that is looking either away from the camera or in some other pose. But in any event, there's no face to the woman. Okay, so the star of the cover is the title and the author name. And again, this author has a lot of reviews, so she already has a huge readership. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to do the same thing. You want to pull up as many of these series as you can to determine what it is that you are going to use to create your series look or just your branding. Because even if you are writing standalone books, you want them to be recognizable by your author name. So here's another one. It's the Bree Taggart book series. It's by Melinda Lee. And this one has the woman, either a woman or a silhouette, and she is walking off into a scene, so to speak. Okay. And again, the author name and the title are in the same font. As the series goes on, you can see that there's a little bit more leeway in the actual design of the cover. Again, she has a very big audience. Okay, so then we'll take a look at the next one. And now this one is a little bit different. It's more design than scenes. Now this looks like it's some sort of scroll and fire. And again, the first three books are very tight. They follow the same design. And what's important to know is that when you have a series on Amazon, this is the way Amazon presents the series. It has the first three books and they're positioned in this order. So that's why it's good to have the first three books very tightly designed so that they look really good and they say series on them. Now, if you look down here as the series goes on, the design of the covers, veers off and there's a little bit more freedom in design. But again, this person, Elizabeth Hunter, she has a tremendous readership, so she can, do whatever she wants. Okay, and then the next one here. Now, this one is slightly different. I love this one. I love the design of this. It's very Art Deco. Now, this would be more for, I guess, a historical novel or maybe a cozy mystery. But anyway, I just wanted you to see how tight these book covers are and how they look as a series. And again, she's using the design itself, the line work. The titles are very similar. The author name is very similar, and she has these little illustrative scenes that are also part of the cover. And as you go down, again, you see a little bit more freedom as the series goes on. Now, let's take a look at the next one. Now, this one is, I'm assuming this is a cozy mystery. Okay, and this one is also, it's a little bit different. It looks like it would be a very fun read just by the design itself. Again, the author name is the same. This is Jana de Leon. The titles of the book are pretty similar, and they all have this very fun illustrative look to them, and also very bright, almost Disney-like coloring. So that is a very good look for a series. Now this one is a little bit different, but again, it works. The author name Carolyn G. Hart is the same, except in this series, the covers are using a different font. And again, the first three books follow a very tight design so that they look great when they're side by side. And then as the series goes on, it gets a little bit more, there's more freedom to the design. The next one here is done with pictures of houses. But in this one, I wanted to call your attention to the fact that the author name is off to the side a little bit. And the beginning of the title, the first letter is in this big fancy font. And that is used also as part of the branding. And up here, there's a little bit of a artistic graphic with the name of the series on it. Okay, so that'll work with these three elements will work with pretty much any scene that you want to have. So that's another great idea. This one here is the Divine Mystery series by Hope Callahan. And again, these three, okay, you can see how closely they are designed. You can tell it's a series. And this author uses the font for the title, the font for the author, and also the spacing on the author name, as well as this little bed and breakfast sort of sign that is on the front of each of the books. So that also is a great way to marry the whole series together. Now, this one is very easy for a newbie, okay, because this one is pretty much the title and the name of the author are the stars of the cover. Okay, and what's different is they use a series of different colors, and each one has a little bit of a illustrative artwork that is a circular, somehow circular in nature, although it starts to veer off a little bit here. But again, this is enough to marry this as a series. This is a great idea. Okay, and this one here is Jane Ivanovich. Now again, Jane Ivanovich is so famous that she could pretty much do whatever she wants and get away with it. But again, you can see how even though she uses all the different colors, the artwork is very similar. It looks like it's all done by the same artist. Her name is the star of the covers. Each one, she uses a different color scheme, but again, they're all very, very similar to one another. And it's enough to create the look of a series. Okay, and here is another one. Now, I'm showing you this mainly because this series of covers has to do with illustration. Now, illustration is very expensive to have done because it takes hours and hours and hours. There are websites that have graphics and illustrations like this. And if you were a really creative person, you might be able to create a scene like this by piecemeal. But if you had to have an artist put this together for you, it would be very expensive, even if you were using Fiverr, which I'm going to talk about next. So again, as you can see, she's using the sign here, the title, and the author name, and that is enough to marry everything together. Now, the next thing I want to cover is using Fiverr. There's a website for anybody who hasn't heard. It's called fiverr.com. It's fiverr.com. And there you can find all kinds of graphic artists, and there's plenty of people that do book covers. And I had done a book cover on my own, which is what we're looking at right now on the screen. And this was for a vampire series that I had written. Now, this was about as dull as a book cover could be. So I contacted someone. Although I liked the design, it needed to be like vampired up a little bit. So I contacted someone on Fiverr, and he was able to put this together. Actually, he put this one together here. Let me put it in the center here. Okay. So I loved it. It was perfect. Okay. But I had no idea what font he was using or anything else. I didn't know how he did this technique. So when I wanted to have the covers changed a bit, and that's a whole other tale for another video. When I contacted the same person, he cost like $350 now to do a cover, and I had 4 covers that I needed changed. So anyway, I looked high and low on the internet to try to find what this was. I found a similar one, but it wasn't really the same. So what I wound up having to do was I created a slightly different bottom for the cover. But as you can see, it really didn't blend like the first one did. This one was very short-lived, and then I ultimately redid all of the covers in the whole series. But the point of this lesson here is the fact that when you hire someone from Fiverr, it's best if you choose the font so that if there comes a day where you want to change something, that you can find, you know what the font is, you have it somewhere saved on your own computer, and that you can either make changes yourself or you pass the font on to another Fiverr artist who is more in your budget, and they can change the covers for you. So that is a very expensive lesson that I ultimately learned, and I'm passing it on to you. So just be careful when you do hire someone from Fiverr. It's best for you to choose the photo, which I had, but I got caught up with the font because I couldn't find the same font, and I didn't know how he did that technique. That's the lesson I wanted to pass on. Okay, so I thought I would end by showing you my own. This is one of my series. It's the mystery romance series, and I did these covers myself with photographs and a little bit of design in the center there for the title. I use this little scroll to marry them together, and I use the same font for the title and for the author name. And so this is that series, and as you can see, they definitely look like a series, even though I allowed myself to use colors that were in each of the pictures. So anyway, so if you learned anything from this video, I hope you will give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And in the next video, we're going to start building out a book cover. Okay, so I just wanted to mention a few more things about working with Fiverr, aside from the fonts, which we've already gone over. Tell them that you want to choose the pictures that they use. If you want the artist to actually choose the pictures as part of the artistic assignment, that's fine, but tell them to use the service that you are using, and they will give you a picture number. And once you have the picture number, you can always find the same picture, because remember, some of these services have 1 million or more pictures. So it's important that you have the picture number. The second thing, we covered about choosing the font, but the other thing I want to suggest is that you use a font from fonts.google.com, from GIMP, which is an image, it's like a Photoshop free program is what it is, or use one from Microsoft. They also have lots and lots of fonts. And you be the one to tell the artist which font you're going to use. Now also, if you can get them to give you the Photoshop or GIMP file that still has the layers in it, that would be great. Sometimes they won't do it because that is their work product. But if you can get them to do that, that would be even better. If you can get the layers, this way you can always change whatever part of the other cover that you want. So by doing it this way, you will always remain in control of the design of your cover. And then if the artist you're using is only charging $50 per cover or $100 per cover, and 6 months from now you go back and they're charging, $300 for a cover, which is what happened to me, then you won't be stuck in a predicament like I was. So anyway, that's my big tip that I am passing on to you.